Hi everyone, my name is Jenny and welcome back to my creative space. In today's video, I'm going to do a casual sit down and we are going to talk about my plans for this upcoming fall. This video was highly inspired by three creators that I watch. Stephanie from Stephanie Bookish did a video, I believe that was Patreon exclusive, talking about her fall bucket list. And then Monica Kim recently did a video on a dopamine menu and shared her day doing that. And also Leonie made a video in regards to personal curriculum. So I wanted to kind of mash up all those ideas and put it into one video and talk about the things that I'd like to accomplish in this upcoming fall season. I kind of made this into separate categories. We have books to watch, activities, games, and then things on my personal curriculum. So I think we'll start off first with books. I did like 3 for each category, but the books have a little bit more. And the first book that I have on my list is an anticipated release, Second Death of Locke. I believe this comes out like the last week of September or the second last week to September, and that's like the beginning of the fall season. So that one is definitely something that I am looking forward to. It's a very like night fantasy romance leaning thing, and I've just been hearing so many good things from people who have arcs of that book, and so I'm highly anticipating that one, and hopefully it's a fan row that really works for me. The next 2 books that I have on my list are actually 2 series. So the first one I have is The Angel of Indian Lake by Stephen Graham Jones. This is a trilogy. I just started My Heart is a Chainsaw and I'm having a good time with it. I'm slowly working my way through Stephen Graham Jones' backlist of books, and so this one is the next thing that I am tackling, and I very much look forward to this trilogy as I don't think oftentimes we see series for horror, and so I'm really interested in seeing how the story takes this main character or if we're following different people in each book. I assume that we are following our main character Jade throughout the entire trilogy, and so I'm very interested to see how we kind of prolong the journey for this character, as I think oftentimes horrors end up being standalones. And then the last book slash series that I have on my to read list for fall is The Raven Cycle. The first book, The Raven Boys, I'm about halfway through. There's my bookmark for you, and I'm having such a fun time. It is very vibey, very atmospheric, and the writing is so lush and so beautiful. The author writes in such a way that it is very transporting. I feel like I am in this small town of Henrietta with the main characters, and I think it'll be such a fantastic series to read throughout the season of fall. And yeah, I just look forward to reading this as my before bed read. And then the next category that we have is things to watch. The first thing on my fall plans to watch is an older series called Over the Garden Wall. I have seen so many like fan arts of this series, so many costumes for Halloween for this series, and I honestly don't know what the theme or concept of this show is. I just know that so many people love it and it is such a beloved series. And I think it's only 1 season and there's not that many episodes in the 1 season, but the art style is so cute. And because the color tone of the animation just feels so fall, I think this will be an amazing show to watch. I think it is more goofy leaning, but to be honest, I don't know anything about it besides a main character that wears like a red cone hat, and then I think there's like a blue bird involved. So I will be watching that this season, and then maybe in one of the next videos that I make during fall, I can let you know what my thoughts on that show is. And then the second show that I have is a anime that is releasing on Netflix called The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. So this one is a more like slice of life high school kind of anime, and I think the 2 main characters are falling in love, but the issue is that they're from like rival high schools, and there's this thematic of our main male character, his family owns like a patisserie, and our main female character ends up meeting him at the pastry shop that he works at. And I just heard that it is really cute, very heartwarming. I hope that it leans in the heartwarming sense of like the sign of affection. I know the sign of affection follows our main characters when they're in college, but I really hope it has that really fun and cutesy kind of vibe. I have seen clips from the trailer and the art style looks so beautiful. So I hope that this one is an anime that I really love and I enjoy. And then the last on my to watch list is the Great British Bake Off. I've not watched a single season of this show before, but I've heard from so many people that this is a comfort show for them, as it is a reality TV show, but there is a lot of joy and a lot of celebration within the cast of people. And although it is a competition, they're not like catty about it. I feel like a lot of the times in American competition shows, there is a lot of drama, and I tend to like fall off from watching them because I just feel so overwhelmed and so anxious sometimes with the group dynamics and about how intense people get with each other. But I've just heard with the Great British Bake Off, it is just a lot of love, a lot of camaraderie on the show. And, you know, I love baking and getting to watch people bake. And I've seen clips of some things that people make on the show, and they look so beautiful and so stunning. So I'm really looking forward to watching this. I am going to start from season 1. I know a new season recently released, but I will be starting it from the beginning. And I'm so excited to get back into like my baking show era, because I used to watch, what was it, Food Network growing up all the time, and getting to watch the seasonal baking shows was always my favorite thing. And so I'm very excited to jump into this show, and hopefully it's something that I really end up enjoying. The next category that I have is activities, and the first activity I have is travel. I do have a vacation coming up for the fall season, and I am very much looking forward to it. Once that vacation rolls over, I will be sharing a little bit more about that. I don't know if I'm going to film or make a video about my vacation, but I'll probably sit down and chit chat with you and catch you up on that. But that is my first thing on activities. The second thing I have is visiting a pumpkin patch slash fruit picking. I say fruit picking very vaguely because I know in my area there are apple orchards that you can visit, but not all of the apple orchards let you pick the apples. Sometimes they have you like pick berries or whatever. And so I'm kind of just scouting out the locations around me and seeing which one is the best. But I haven't been to a pumpkin patch in quite a while. I think it's because I live in California and the weather is quite hot even throughout the fall season. And so, like, going to a pumpkin patch and like having your more fall wear on sometimes isn't ideal because it is still sweltering out there. So, I'm just trying to plan a good time to go to the pumpkin patch, but also because I am going on vacation soon ish. I don't know like the timing for the pumpkin patches in my area, so that's something I need to research a little bit more, but hopefully before my vacation, maybe after my vacation, I can find a good time to go visit one and just soak up the fall energy. And then the last activity I have is making a pull-apart cinnamon bread. I had this idea of making cinnamon buns from scratch because I've never done that before, but cinnamon buns is like one of my favorite pastries. And the thing is I love the flavor of cinnamon and like the cream cheese frosting, but I don't really like the outside of a cinnamon bun. I really like the more soft inner gooey center of the cinnamon bun because the texture just is more pleasant to me. And so I think several years ago, Costco had this like pull apart cinnamon bun bread. And so I want to make that myself. But I had the idea of instead of like normal like pastry bread, I don't know what type of bread pull apart bread is based on, but I was thinking of doing like a Japanese milk bun and then making those dough balls and then putting in like the cinnamon sugar and baking that and then having the cream cheese frosting on top, and that would be my pull-apart bread. I've never made Japanese milk bread before, but I know that I really like the texture and like the light sweetness the bread naturally has, and I think that would be very complimentary with a cinnamon pull-apart. I'm going to have to do my research, obviously, on how to make the Japanese milk bread. And the next category that I have is games. I have 3 games that I want to try out in the fall season. And the first one is Fantasy Life. This is on, all 3 of them are going to be on the Nintendo Switch. But Fantasy Life is this sort of like slice of life casual game, almost in the lines of Animal Crossing, but there's a little bit more action because you get to choose these sort of career paths that lean, some of them are more like weapons based, so you can be like a paladin, you can be an archer, and then there's like more like crafty based ones where you can be like a tailor or you can be a carpenter, stuff like that. And I have one of my friends who has been playing this game and has loved it. And just from her speaking about the game and her enthusiasm for it, it makes me really excited to play. And then one of my other friends ended up getting the game because of her, and she really likes it as well and says that it leans almost in the thematics of Zelda for her, and Zelda is one of my favorite games from Nintendo, and so that really excites me. So I'm very much looking forward to trying Fantasy Life. My birthday is coming up soon, and so I'm kind of waiting for that to get it for myself as a birthday gift, but I'm very much looking forward to that. The second game that I have on my list is Hades, and it's a roguelike game, and to be honest, I've never played any roguelike ones before, but I know in the Nintendo Switch Direct they announced Hades 2 that's coming out, and I've seen some other gaming news outlets that have talked about Hades before and talked about how much like their companies have equally loved it. And one of my other friends also enjoys Hades, and she was telling me that it was something that she didn't think that she would like, but ended up really enjoying. And it seems to be this theme of, I think Hades' son is trying to leave hell, and he's like, you know, you can't leave hell, nobody ever leaves, not the living or the dead. And so you are fighting through these dungeons from all these monsters that Hades puts on you, and you have to like fight all these levels to escape hell. And obviously, when you die, you have to start all the way over again. And this seems like such a good game to play while audiobooking, and the graphics of it and the animation and everything, and even the voice acting seems really good. And so I'm very much looking forward to this one. Not sure when in fall I'm going to end up getting the game, but this seems like a really great one for me to play, as I do like my reading from my reading list this season. And the last game that I have is Hollow Knights, which is a platformer game. This one is from an indie developer called Team Cherry. I think they're based in Australia. I could be wrong, but I know that this game is very beloved, and recently they released a sequel to Hollow Knight called Silksong, and I've just been seeing so much enthusiasm about the Silksong release, and that has me really interested in the developing team in general, but also like just the series of games. So I'm going to play Hollow Knights first, just to catch a vibe of what the developing team does, and then go into the sequel game, Silksong. I don't think they're like direct sequel. Like, I don't think you cannot play Silksong first. I think you can play either or, but just timeline wise, I like to play in order. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up Hollow Knight, and just graphically, it's so cute. Like, there are some darker scenes within the trailer that I saw, but it just in general looks so cute and so up my alley style wise. And so I really look forward to playing this game. And the last category that I have for you is my personal curriculum. So the first thing on my personal curriculum is knitting. Right now, I am knitting a basic scarf just to get into the groove and movement of doing a single stitch. And the next thing I want to move on to, at least in the fall season, I'd like to start. I don't have to complete it. is this sweater vest that I will put here on screen for you. It has like a kind of flared peplum vibe, and it's something that is so my style, and I'd love to be able to make myself one. And then if I feel very comfortable with doing it, I'd like to make myself one in like more colors, and also maybe even graduate myself to more of a fancy fiber like potentially wool. We'll see how it goes. The second thing that I want to learn is kind of a general baking learning lesson, probably the basics of baking. This year, I've really gotten back into my love for making pastries. And the thing is, with baking, I don't really know the science behind it. I only really know following recipes, but I know there are specific things in regards to temperature, even like with your butter and cookies, the type of temperature that you use for your butter changes the texture of your cookies. And I'd really love to know why that is and do some more research on bettering my own personal cookie baking, but then also learning the just information behind making bread and like why things have certain textures and how things become what they are. And I'm very interested in learning that, and hopefully it melds into making me a better baker. And the last one could be a little bit out of left field, but I am thinking about changing my career and going back to school. And I want to learn about human anatomy because that would just be something that would be very helpful with the career path that I'm thinking about switching to. So in my last part of personal curriculum, I am going to just learn about anatomy, learn about the bone structure, muscle structure, and organ structure of the human body, and what those things do for our human body. I think it'd be very interesting, and I don't know, I've just been craving that kind of diagram, putting names to things, and like knowing and memorizing new things. I don't think in my bio class we really went in depth with the human anatomy, and in college as well, I didn't learn that much. I think because I studied psychology, it was more so like neurons and synapses and that kind of stuff, and it wasn't the entire human body that I was learning about. And again, just to curb my basic human curiosity, I really like to know about the connections of our organs to our entire bodily health. I think that kind of stuff is really interesting, and because I am a human in a human body, I would just like to know more about myself in that way. And so I'm very excited to, print out my little sheets of like the muscle structure and the bone structure and start naming things and like watching some videos. I remember in high school, I used to watch was it Hank Green or his brother? I think it was Hank who had that video series for bio and stuff. For some reason, I cannot remember the title of the series, but if you know what I'm talking about. And I'll also put it on the caption, and I'll also put it on the screen because I will research this afterwards. But just getting to watch those animated videos and learning about the human body was so fun to me. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to learning new things and, exercising the mind space. I feel like the past few years, life has been a little bit monotonous being an adult and being at my adult job and doing the same thing over and over again. And because recently I've really just been battling with some really intense anxiety, I think taking my mind away from the daily anxiety that I feel and bringing new and exciting elements into my brain, I think would be really nice. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, I'm very excited for my personal curriculum and everything else that I have on this list. But yeah, that's it for my video. It's going to be a shorter one for today, not super short, but shorter than the other things that I've posted on my channel. I hope you enjoyed this sort of pre-planning for the season of fall. I do want to know what are things that you are looking forward to, whether it's books, whether it's shows you're watching, maybe you're doing your own personal curriculum. I really like this idea of building out what we're interested in and like making a plan on really investing our time into those things. I really do hope that you end up doing something similar, or even planning like a little small dopamine menu for one of the days of your weeks this coming season. And yeah, I'm very excited, and hopefully I can do quite a bit of the things that I have on this list and potentially make a video updating you on it. I very much look forward to doing these things. I thank you so much for watching this video. And if you've made it this far and don't have anything else to say, let's leave some pastry emojis in the comments below, because we're getting back into our baking season of life. And I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!